If you go to the movies these days, you'll hear lots of scary things.
We've never been hit by a storm quite like this. Global warming is the reason for this unprecedented event.
Environmentalism and Hollywood have gone hand in hand.
Mark Morano, a journalist who tries to fight the fear-mongering, calls this propaganda from people who want government to control life.
Mr. Vice President, if we don't act now, it's going to be too late.
What you call propaganda, they say we're just informing people.
They're not informing people. They're using science and environmental scares to achieve these political ends that they've been trying to do essentially since the 1960s.
I think we're on the verge of a major climate shift.
Those are the exact words we heard in the 1970s about the global cooling scare. They actually said climatologists are pessimistic that politicians won't act in time in order to prevent the coming climate catastrophe.
At the UN, a movie actor lectures the delegates.
Droughts are intensifying, our oceans are acidifying.
Leonardo DiCaprio is probably the chief celebrity spokesman. He actually famously said one time, "I'll fly all over the world in order to fight global warming." But he didn't quite get the disconnect.
Yeah, come on. What you got?
The most successful movie ever
Oh, yeah,
is this one.
That's right.
Avatar's villain is a mining company.
This little gray rock sells for $20 million a kilo.
To get it, the miners will destroy the indigenous people's land.
Those savages are threatening our whole operation.
The film's director is James Cameron.
He went down with Sigourney Weaver to Brazil to protest hydroelectric dams, which would have brought running water and electricity to hundreds of thousands of people, and then flew back home to Hollywood, where he had mansions, he had private planes. He's living a high-carbon lifestyle, yet he is willing to deny that progress to the poor people.
Flying around the world, criticizing greenhouse gases. We asked DiCaprio and Cameron's representatives about their hypocrisy, but they didn't respond.
Break the rules.
Hollywood tells kids to fight environmental destruction, get in the way.
There's nothing to stop them from bulldozing from one coast to another. Except for us. You gotta start thinking like an outlaw.
You might call this
soft-core eco-terrorism porn for children. This was a movie that showed kids going in and ravaging construction sites, all to save endangered species.
We gotta stop this construction once and for all. We're the only ones who care. We're the only ones who know.
At least this is Hollywood. At least we can look at that and say, that's fiction, that's supposed to be fiction.
This isn't supposed to be.
The New York Times climate reporting reads like a Greenpeace newsletter.
The so-called paper of record says climate signals are growing louder and we're running out of time and the worst is yet to come.
A crippling, potentially historic blizzard.
On TV, storms are not just bad, they're historic.
Historic, crippling, and catastrophic.
Historic snow.
Historic
Snow day.
And climate change causes so many problems.
CNN actually asked, was this asteroid caused by global warming?
What's coming our way? Is this an effect of perhaps global warming?
There's a blurring between fiction and reality because they have a political agenda.
Sea level worldwide would go up 20 feet. This is what would happen in Florida.
Climate scientists laugh at those claims, but kids don't know that. And today in school,
they watch this over and over. We've had children who've had to sit through Al Gore's film 4 times in 4 different classes.
Global warming, or none like it hot.
The kids also watch The Story of Stuff. It explains how a radio is made.
The metal was probably mined in South Africa. The petroleum was probably drilled in Iraq.
Story of Stuff has been viewed 40 million times. It says if you buy a radio.
These people paid with the loss of their clean air, with increasing asthma and cancer rates. Kids in the Congo paid with their future.
This is basically telling kids, everything you buy, we're exploiting other people.
I'm sorry, I bought a radio.
Instead of marveling at the technology behind it, they're calling progress for these countries exploitation.
This film was shown at the UN. The little girl watches the news and learns that because of man, her world will fall apart. Kids are scared.
They're very scared. They have pictures of Santa Claus's home melting, and they do this every Christmas.
There may be no alternative but to cancel Christmas.
And no one better tell kids, don't be scared.
No dissent allowed when you're teaching your children about global warming. They're going to be told that there is one view, and the view is that we face a climate danger and that we must act.